Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast, where we're pushing the limits in business, life, and health. Today, it's episode 30. Whoop, 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 whoop. We're talking about the 9 things to give up to be happy. I'm Brian Benson, and next to me, well, his celebrity man crush is Matthew McConaughey. All right. Mike Stahl.
What's up,
and he wrote a book called Dominate Your Day. Check it out on his website, michaelstahl.com, and he's going to dominate your face right now.
People always say they wish they had more time in the day to get things done. A great way to get an extra 365 hours back during the year is wake up an hour earlier every day. You will be amazed by how much you can accomplish throughout the year just by getting that extra hour each morning. It's that simple. You want your dreams to come true? Stop oversleeping. So let's do the math. 1 extra hour per day equals 365 hours in a year. If you work 8 hours a day, those extra 365 hours is equal to 45 consecutive work days. Throw in weekends and you have 2 months. What will you do with those extra 2 months?
Man. Well, when you put the facts out there and the math together, it makes so much sense. And how many people are just not taking advantage of those extra 2 months? I mean, I'm all for sleep. I am. But it's like...
And that's actually the health tip of the day, too.
Oh, there we go.
Talking about sleep. I mean, sleep is important, but, you can work it out to where
we oversleep. A lot of people do.
That's true.
I would say 90% of the country oversleeps, and a lot of times they just say, you know what, I'm just not going to get up, or I'm going to hit the snooze button. It's just like, if you got up that 1 hour early, right when your alarm went off, I mean, people snooze for literally an hour. If you were to get up when that alarm first went off, oh my gosh.
Go to bed earlier, get up earlier.
Yep.
Get on that Brian Benson sleep schedule. He goes to bed at 7:30 p.m. and gets up at 4 a.m.
Speaking of, I got an hour and a half before I got to go to bed, so let's get this done. All right, the 9 things to give up to be happy. Number 1, complaining.
People, quit your bitching. I mean, it's that simple, you know.
It is.
And I will say, before we go over all 9 of these, that I am guilty of probably every single one of these.
At one point or another, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably all of them I'm guilty of. But no, I think that as you and I have journeyed further and further down the road, both in our personal businesses and with this, I think that the complaining thing, we realize that it doesn't do anything. And I think it's tied in with number 4 too, which we'll get to, negative self-talk, is that, your words really do have power over you. Mm-hmm. And the things that you say and you project out there, I mean, those words, they will have a hold on you, so you got to watch what you say. So, this would be my opportunity to throw in the No Complaint Project.
Yes, complaintproject.com. Check it out.
So that's my piece on that. Quit your bitching.
Yes, I 100% agree. When you bitch, you make everybody else start feeling negative around you. We've talked about that before, and I'll say this because my 97-year-old grandma said this, and I said this in the other episode, but every time I pick her up or we go somewhere or family outing, I say, "Hey, Grandma, how you doing?" And she says, "Well, I can't complain because it wouldn't do me any good." Well, I can tell you right now, that's the best advice ever. Complaining does you no good, so just get your shit done.
Yeah, and here's my portion for the teaser video right here, is that when you complain to others, 80% actually don't care about what you're complaining about. And the other 20% are glad that you have those problems. So shove that in your face!
In your face! All right, we're getting the hard hat on, baby.
Number 2, limiting beliefs.
Man, oh man, we talk about this a lot, but self-limiting beliefs, not believing in yourself. There's no confidence there. You have these limiting beliefs. Why even limit yourself?
Yeah, we talked about that
You should
last
not
time.
limit yourself. You can do whatever you want within, go toward your strengths, but, don't limit yourself on the things that you can and can't do. I mean, how many of those stories have we heard of people who have lost a limb or something and then run a marathon or something? You know what I mean? It's like, these people have such strong beliefs in everything that they do that you have no reason to complain. And I'll even talk about the time when I went to the Boys and Girls Club, and I was a judge for the youth leadership group thing, and the one girl, she could have had so many limiting beliefs and complained about so much because of where she came from and what she had to persevere. She could have been so limited in her beliefs. She had so many negative things happen to her, she could have easily said, I can't do this. I'm not gonna win. Why? She actually was in powerlifting, and she's doing like really good. She's like the captain of the team and everything. And she could have had a lot of limiting beliefs from where she came from. But instead, she just said, you know what? I have nothing to complain about. I can't have these limiting beliefs. I have to go out there and perform at my best all the time. So she built herself up. I don't know where that intrinsic motivation came from. Maybe it was from the things that she had gone through. But I'm telling you, there's too many other things that you just can't, you don't have time to have these limiting beliefs.
Right. Yeah, my advice would be don't be your own roadblock to your success. You know, like if other people want to place limiting beliefs on you, that's fine. Let them do and say what they want to do. But the one thing that you can control is not doing that to yourself. You can't really control what other people are going to say. You know, if you're on a path, there's going to be a lot of people that want to throw rocks at you along the way. That's fine, whatever. Don't throw rocks at yourself,
right?
You know, by limiting your beliefs.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're all that you have. So you better be nice to yourself and say nice things to yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, the next one, oh man, I like this one.
Yeah.
Number 3 is blaming others.
I like this one because coming from an athletic and sports background, I was taught not to blame others. You know, like my example was in basketball. When I would play basketball, and like even like if maybe it was their fault or something like that, I would take accountability for it. And that's just kind of coming from a leadership standpoint, where that's what I wanted to do, is I wanted to have the accountability, and I took the blame for things like that. But you know, blaming others, again, just like complaining, it's not going to get anything done. Where's your accountability? Where's your skin in the game? You know, how do you hold yourself accountable? Stop blaming others. Blame yourself.
Yeah, have ownership in what you do. Have accountability to things that you do. Don't allow, like, yeah, sometimes things are out of your control on what others do, but sitting around just blaming them is not going to make you, like Mike said, put you further ahead. Or you know, if you're walking around the office and saying, well, it was this person's fault, it was that person's fault, like that's the worst, isn't it, when you work in an environment where people are saying those, oh well, yeah, it was, you know, Mike's fault because it's so negative.
It breaks the trust, it breaks the camaraderie, it breaks the loyalty.
And if it is somebody else's fault, you know what? Have that conversation with them. Have that tough conversation with them and just say, look, what could I do better so that we don't have a mishap next time, or the miscommunication, whatever, wherever it fell short, you were probably part of that equation at some point or another.
Yeah.
So you need to take ownership of that, and you need to just understand that you are always part of that equation.
My example to that would be if I let Brian borrow my Lamborghini Aventador.
Yes.
Okay, we're talking like a $400,000 car. And let's say Brian, pedal to the metal, goes and crashes it into a tree.
Yeah.
Now, the question on the test would be, who is to blame? Is it Brian because, you know, he didn't know how to drive a Lamborghini? Or was it Michael's fault that he allowed Brian, in Michael's knowledge, knowing that Brian's not a great driver, that he allowed him to take the car in the first place? Whose fault is it? Well, the answer is C, all of the above.
Yeah, right.
Brian sucks at driving. Michael should have never let him take the car out in the first place, okay?
But you know what? What you mentioned right there is the fact that sometimes the leak is further up the hose than you think. And sometimes you have to go and find out where that is and patch that. Many times everyone looks at where it's coming out, you know, where the outflow is, but there could be a leak or a kink way up the line.
That's a good way of putting it.
I know.
Wow! Number 4, negative self-talk.
Oh man! All right, this is sort of covered in the complaining and the limiting beliefs, but negative self-talk. I don't care if you're saying it. I don't care if you're writing it. I don't care what you're doing. You do not need to say anything negative about yourself. Period. I don't care. I used to do this. I am so guilty of this.
Me too.
When things wouldn't go right in business or in sales or something, I used to be like, man, I can't make sales. Like I just suck at that. And like, I mean, and then I'd go out and try to do it the next day and the next day, but if I keep saying all these negative things, it will never happen. Of course it's not going to happen. Of course I'm not going to crush it in sales because I keep telling myself I can't.
Yeah,
so
you're
stop.
complaining, you're limiting your belief, you're blaming others when you should really be having accountability for yourself, and that leads to what we're talking about right now, negative self-talk. It's like they're all combined together, you know what I mean? But it's true. But I'm guilty of it too. I've done it before. I mean, I think we all have.
We all get down on ourselves, you know?
Yeah, and you may doubt yourself a little bit or whatnot. And there's also a difference between negative self-talk and maybe speaking honestly with your feelings and emotions and maybe talking out loud in a form of constructive criticism to yourself, because I know that we've done that to ourselves as well. Not being negative, but just like talking our way through the situation.
Yeah, and
being out loud.
Saying stuff like when you get something wrong, it's not like, oh, I suck. It's, oh, I'm learning. You know, it's I'm learning to get better at that. I'm learning to be better in sales. I'm learning this. Like saying positive words, constructive criticism to yourself rather than that negative self-talk. So, all right, number 5 is dwelling on the past. Oh, man. Take it away,
I had the
Mike.
same reaction too. Jeez. Guilty, you know.
Guilty.
For me, dwelling on the past, like, you know, because you know, it's, you know, we talk about this, how you can't let the past define you, but at the same time, I do think about my past, and I think sometimes I'm like, I wish I would have done this way or that way, but the fact of the matter is that I cannot change my past, and neither can you. You know, like what you just said on the previous point, we have to learn from that. Technically, it's not a failure, it's a learning process. We take something from every single thing that doesn't go the way that we wanted it to, or that it doesn't work out. So, you know, dwelling on the past, I do think about the past because I try to think about things that I did that I didn't do, and I analyze a little bit, only from a standpoint of as I want to keep learning and growing. I am getting better at not worrying about specific things that maybe I wish I would have. I'm getting better at letting them go. I'm not 100% there. Okay.
Well, you know, and exactly, and it's tough, you know, but here's some practical advice, you know. Every day is a new day. So every day you wake up, you have a new opportunity and a new chance. And you cannot live your life staring in the rearview mirror. I've said that a million times. But every day is a new day. And people have said that for years. But really, you have to, every day you wake up, you have a new chance at life. You have a new chance at doing something better than you did the day before. Yeah. And that's how you got to look at it. It's like you have every day you have a new start. You have a second chance, a third chance. I mean, we get more chances than anybody ever allows ourselves. We don't allow ourselves sometimes to have more chances to say, you know what, this next time I'm going to get it. This next time, no, it didn't work out. Okay, well, the next time I'm going to get it. If the more we continue to dwell on what happened yesterday, the further away we're going to be from what we truly want and what we truly deserve.
Right. And that's the thing about living in the moment. Like today, you know, like today is today, but today is going to be yesterday tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so today we're focusing on today, but tomorrow we got to focus on tomorrow, not focus on today.
Yeah.
I know that sounds confusing, but today is going to be yesterday. So, you know, always looking forward, and that's the key.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Number 6, resistance to change. This is a good one.
Oh man, this drives me crazy because I think change is so good, but we are so afraid of change as human race.
Because it's hard when it's good.
It is hard.
It hurts so good.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing is, it is hard. Change is hard. It's difficult. Everyone wants to be in their comfort zone and live in their little groove and in their little happy place. But the reality is, if you want more out of your life and you don't want to be mediocre and you want to and you want more for yourself and your family, you're going to have to change. There's something in your life that you aren't doing. If you want more wealth in your life and you want better health in your life, well, you're not going to get there by continuing to eat the Cheez-Its on the couch like good old Brian here. You know what I mean? You're not. And you're not going to get wealthier by just continuing to go the same job and clocking in at 9 and leaving at 5. Have you ever started getting there at 8 and then leaving at 7? You know, have you ever done something a little bit different? You need to change if you want things to be better in your life. That is plain and simple, man.
Yeah, and the world is always evolving, and things are getting bigger, faster, stronger, better technology. So really, if your resistance to change, you're going to stay in the same spot and the world's going to pass you by.
Yeah, the world's going to go on no matter what, right?
Exactly, and there's always going to be a better company or a company that does the same thing that you're doing, but you're resistant to change, so you're not really growing. Now this company is offering an app.
Yeah.
And they're offering a VIP program along with the services that you provide. So it's like they're one step ahead. So if you're resistant to change, you're gonna get lapped on the track. You know what I mean? So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, and perfect example: Netflix versus Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
They said no.
Right
people
there.
are going to continue to come to the store and rent VHSs off the shelf. It's like, no, they're not. They want to sit from their home very comfortably and just click something, right on their channel control or their gaming system.
Example.
But they were resistant to change, and they didn't change fast enough. And the next thing you know, and then they went to the Redbox model. Remember the Blockbuster?
Yeah.
But guess what? Redbox was already there. Like you were resistant to change, and you lost. And that is the biggest thing. You will lose if you don't change.
Man, that nail on the head right there. Is it you? Me?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, the need to impress others.
I'm guilty of this. Not now, but more so in the past. I think when I first got into my specific...
Don't dwell on the past.
I know. But I think, but this is a good,
right.
Teaching point that I'm not dwelling on the past, but I am...
Learning from the past.
I am learning from the past. I am speaking of the past because in the past, I did feel the need to impress others when I first got into my field, which is health and wellness, and I felt like I needed to be the most ripped, the most... physically appealing person to gain clients and to gain notoriety and many other things. So I think as time has gone on, it's been less the need to impress others and more of I want fulfillment and personal achievement that I'm actually doing something that is impactful, not necessarily impressing others. I know a lot of people on social media that have millions of people following them and they probably impress others, but I'm not really sure what they're doing on a concrete level that is really impacting and helping others. And that's the difference. I don't want to just impress people, I want to help people.
Yeah.
I want to make an impact.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, at the end of the day, your competition is in the mirror. So impress yourself. I mean, we talked about this, I think it was last episode, but it's like, or maybe it's 2 episodes ago, but it was the only person that you need to go against or impress is yourself. I forget, you said something like 2 episodes ago about that, but it's so true. It's like you need to have so much confidence in yourself and who you are as a person that you don't need to worry about what other people are doing, because it goes back to what you said on complaining. 80% of people aren't even really going to care. People don't really care. They're like, oh, you impressed me. Like, nobody really gives that much of a shit about you.
And that's short term, too. That's not even going to last.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if LeBron James or Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or any of these other star athletes thought that that was impressing others, one dunk, oh, that's really impressive. But they have to constantly go out and keep it. But they're against themselves.
How do you turn that one impressive dunk into a business?
Yeah,
Is it long lasting? Is it sustainable? Again, I think feeling the need
cares.
to impress others, that comes and goes very quickly. And I wrote down people pleaser. When you want to impress people all the time, you become this people pleaser, and you're like a slave to these people trying to impress them all the time, and you want to be a people pleaser, and you're not going to be able to, because 2 things when you meet someone: they're either going to like you or they're not going to like you. And that's the truth.
No, it's true.
And I can't control that. I'm not going to try to go and impress everyone. I'm going to be myself. When you try to impress people all the time, I think that you start to kind of leave who you really are and morph into someone else that I don't really think you can maintain that for very long.
I 100% agree. 100%.
Number 8, the need to always be right. Brian, tell me what you think about this one.
Well, I'll tell you, I have met more people that... You ever get that person who just has to one-up you or get the last word in? It's like, oh my God, I can't even be friends with these people, I know. And you don't have to always be right. And I learned that in business early on, because early on, I thought I always had to be right.
Yeah,
I thought I always had to know the right answer and blah, 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 and I was the best, and I found myself bullshitting people quite often.
Early on.
I mean, it was, and you know what? That's not the way to live. That's not the way to be. And, you don't always have to be right. There's going to be other people who have great ideas. This also brings in that collaboration. Like, you don't know when somebody else is going to say something that's going to totally change you or make you think differently or outside the box to help you grow as a person or grow your business. You do not always have to be right, but you can always go out and find the resources to find the right answer or something. But I just can't stand those people, man.
I know. And what's easy for me is, and I'm guilty of this in the past, but now when I know I'm wrong and I admit and I say you're right, I laugh about it because I can laugh at myself about that and kind of make a joke out of it, which is like, you know what? You're right. I'm wrong. Like, no, seriously, you're right. I'm wrong. Like, and then you laugh about it, like you can't take yourself too serious when you want to always be right. Don't take yourself that serious. Like, laugh about it. It makes it easier to admit that you are wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though you know you're right.
But I've had those moments, though, where I thought I was right, and then somebody else says something, and I'm like, oh, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Take a lighthearted approach to it, because you're not always going to be right.
I always go to...
You're ignorant if you think that you're always right. You know everything about everything. Like, my expertise is in health and wellness, but I don't know everything about everything. There's people that could run circles around me, But at the end of the day, I'm right and they're wrong, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Well, it's so funny. Like, we've had those moments, you and I. I always come to Mike with crazy ideas, and we need to do this, we need to do that. And then he's like, dude, we got to scale it back, and we got to grow like one by one. Let's stick to the podcast, and blah, blah. And I go, oh, you're right. Like, I thought I was right, but I was wrong. He was right. Mike was right. He was right. All right. Right on. All right. Number 9, the need for others' approval. And this is a big one. I mean, it kind of goes with number 7, but
yeah, and
I
you know
like
what? And for me, it kind of goes on number 5, dwelling on the past too, because I think about this, the need for others' approval, and I'm guilty of this in the past because I have made decisions in the past that I based off of whether or not I would have the approval of people. Like, honestly, like people back in my hometown of Clyde, like I would think like, well, how would they feel about this? Like, would I get their approval? I should not do that. I should do what I feel is best for me and my family and my close friends and my business partners, Like, I don't need everyone's approval. I'm not going to have everyone's approval. And you know what? Those people that I was worried about their approval, well, I made the decision, and here I am. I'm going about my life. They're going about their life. We're still doing what we need to do. It's like it didn't even matter.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, whether I said yes or no to that particular situation, they would still go and live their life whether or not they approved it or not. And I have to too. Like, I can't base what I do off of all these other people, these third parties that they're either going to like you or they're not going to like you. But I can't control that. I can only control what I do. Yeah. So that's what I've learned from this.
No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I don't really have a lot to add to that. I mean, just
Brian,
really,
what do you even bring to this podcast?
Yeah, I mean, not a whole, I'm humor, entertainment.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I mean, it really... People's life is going to continue moving on no matter what, for all of these, really, So whether you want to keep blaming yourself, blame others, have negative self-talk, resistance to change, all that, life is going to move. We're all going to die. Like, that's just going to happen, like
Gary
the reality. Well, yeah.
4 words for motivation. You are going to die. 3. You're going to die.
Yeah, I mean, but it's true. It's true, and at the end of the day, like you said, you can only control you. And so the need for approval from others just goes out the window when you have that self-awareness and that realization where it's just like, wait a second, I'm in control of me and my life. I need to do what I need to do to be successful. Like, I need to do what Brian and his family wants,
right? Not
what anybody else thinks, because they're going to do what they think is right for them.
Yeah,
so
and you're not holding yourself accountable specifically to your desires and dreams if you're needing the approvals of others. Like, if I needed the approval of my, let's say, all the people in Clyde that I was worried about, I just made every single person in Clyde my boss.
Yeah.
Like, I need to report to them.
Boom.
No, I report to me. And for example, for you, like with InspireLink, like, if you needed the approval of everyone else about InspireLink, it would not be where it's at or where it's going to be, which is going to be amazing in the near coming months. You don't need people's approval of that. You know what I mean? You don't answer to them. You answer to you. You answer to your wife, your family. It's like the need for the approval of others is, again, you're going back to being a people pleaser, and you're allowing others to control your destiny. That's not the winning formula to success.
Right. No, I agree 100%. And I just want to reiterate that when you have the need for approval from others, you are making everybody else your boss.
And by the way, I was not complaining just then and there, which is number one. I was lecturing.
He's educating.
I was not negative self-talking. I was educating.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive into the challenge for today. I think that it's just so important. So as far as resistance to change goes, I know it's hard, so I'm just going to keep this nice and easy for all of you to choose one of these 9 things. So you need to give up one of these 9 things for 30 days. And if complaining is one, you can go to the complaintproject.com. The complaintproject.com. It's a 21-day challenge to give up complaining for 21 days. You'll get emails. It's a great site. But yes, I want you to pick one of these: complaining, limiting beliefs, blaming others, negative self-talk, dwelling on the past, resistance to change, the need to impress others, the need to always be right, or the need for others' approval. Give up one of those 9 things and do it for 30 days. You will be thanking yourself. Health tip.
The health tip of this segment. Now, I know I opened with the idea of waking up an hour early and getting 365 extra hours back, but as important as that is, it's also important to get 6 to 7 hours of sleep. If you could get 8, that's great. So then you would say, well, Mike, I got to wake up an hour earlier. Rearrange your schedule. Do whatever you got to do and structure it so that you can get those 6 to 7 hours of sleep and still wake up an hour earlier than what you're normally accustomed to so that you can get a head start in your day. I want to keep it short and sleep, but obviously when you have a bad night's
sleep. Short and sleep? Did you say short and sleep or
no, short and sweet? Oh. Yeah, I'll keep it short and sleep. But
sounded like sleep.
If you get a bad night of sleep, the studies show that you can actually eat up to, on average, about 365 calories extra on the day after. Like if I had a bad night's sleep last night, I could have possibly eaten, on average, an extra 365 calories today because you're hungry. Lack of sleep, maybe you tend to fall off your diet, maybe you skip your workout, you're not burning calories. So we all know what the importance of sleep is, okay? So just, I would say no less than 6. 7 is typically like the sweet number for me. I don't get 8 because I just don't with my schedule. I usually get about 6.5 to 7, so that's the sweet spot. So figure it out. Get your 6 to 7 hours of sleep, but wake up, if you normally wake up at 8, wake up at 7 and dominate your day.
I love it.
Dominate your bay.
Yeah. Dominate your bay. Oh, good Lord. All right, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, IG. Thank you for all the podcasters. And if you guys could please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, it would be huge for us. We are working to get in the new and noteworthy, but we would love for you to subscribe, rate, and review. Thank you for joining us on episode 30, the 9 things to give up to be happy, and we will see you all on the next episode.